My Canucks.
Now I have a new slang term that I taught you from my culture.
Yeah,
What's
but
the Canuck again?
that shit don't slap though.
It's just a Canadian.
That shit don't slap though.
Canucka.
No, I don't add anything to it. Just
You wanna say
Canucka,
yeah.
huh?
My Canucka?
no, just
Or Nucka.
Nucka.
that's too close.
more
So
sexual.
if you say Canucks,
Yeah,
right, and then you
yeah.
subsidize and say Canucka, and then you halftime that and say my Nucka, low key you can probably get that off.
No, I don't.
Possibly.
I don't think I could get that off.
You can probably,
I could get it off in Canada probably, but not out here. I don't think.
to
it would
what
slap.
kind of Canadian though?
That's true. That's
could
true.
you-
That's true.
Could you say it to like Baka?
No, I don't. It rhymes with his name, but I don't think.
My Nucka Baka.
I don't think. To be honest, I don't think I'd want to say anything to Baka that is going to be
my God.
anything close.
Shout out to my Baka Nice.
Shout out
That's
to
your
him.
nigga. Baka that nice. Your
Nah, we had him on the
Shout
show.
Baka.
He's cool. He was cool.
Did he
I
have a
like
weird
Baka.
case when you had him on the show?
Nah, he was cool. I didn't know about that shit.
I did a car test with Baka. I like Baka.
See?
Did it slap in the car?
He was slapping the car. He had the hit that Drake helped him right. I forgot
yeah.
Damn, why you gotta do that?
My name.
Yeah, my name. Yeah. That
Can
was
you
right
start
when
the
it came up.
show?
Elliot Wilson, man. How you doing?
Jeremy
Elliot
Hed.
Wilson, the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Hey.
DJ Hed, we outside.
I want to say from jump, I don't feel 100%. I'm a little sick. I'm getting over a cold, so I might not have my turned up Drake energy.
We cool
so
with
I
that.
just say,
So you're not starting off with
you guys
Drake,
have to
right?
hold me down. But I'm kind of mad at both you guys. Can we just air out our own personal business?
Let's
Sure,
go.
yeah.
Where am I from, gentlemen?
You? Where you from?
Where am I from?
East
What state I
Coast.
claim?
You are from New York.
Yes. Where were you at this week, DJ Hed?
I was in New York.
Where were you at?
I wasn't in
Jeremy
your
Hed?
borough though.
In a separate.
I
a
flew
I was
separate-
in
into
New
your
York.
borough.
I
Yo,
was in
these
New
guys
York.
go to New York and don't even invite me. I know I'm sick as shit.
We didn't
y'all.
even check in.
Y'all don't even check in the
we didn't
city.
even
I checked in with the people I need to check in with. You know
Not
what
my
I'm saying?
people's.
Nah, I checked in with a couple of individuals. I text DJ Envy and told him I was in his
So
city.
Mr. West Coast, DJ Hed touches down New York City.
Yeah.
Is this the first time you've been in New York since the whole summer of Drake and Kendrick?
Yeah.
How did it feel to be in the New
Oh,
York
it was
streets,
great.
baby?
It was amazing. You know what? This is my first time going to New York where I actually enjoyed myself.
Really?
Yeah, I don't ever enjoy myself in New York. It's always cold. I've never experienced New York when it was
August, that's our best month.
when it was warm.
Absolutely.
And being in New York this time definitely allowed. I was like, okay, I took a nice walk. I walked pretty much everywhere. I did the whole New York experience. I didn't get on the train though. Like, come on, dog. Like it was a lot going on, but I walked. You know what I'm saying?
Love it.
I
dogs?
had some
Got a
good
hot dog
Caribbean
from the man
food.
street?
Shout out to Nyla Simone who took me to a good Caribbean spot.
Oh, Nala put you on to Caribbean spot?
Yeah, she took me to
That's
a
dope.
Caribbean spot. I had some plantains. I had a whole fish with the head on it. Do y'all do that? Y'all do that in Canada? Whole fish with the head on it?
I'm sure they do in certain places. I haven't
You never
done
had a whole fish with the head on it?
it scares me. The eyes scare me a little
Oh
bit.
my God.
What? It's not frightening a little bit?
You a grown ass man like Tyrese say.
And Tyrese just cried during a whole interview. We
But-
can be vulnerable. I'm being vulnerable right here. Okay, I'm
Yeah, I
just
fuck
telling you
with
my
New York,
fears.
though.
What more do you want from me?
You want to know why I didn't check in with you? It's because you're so West Coast now that I didn't even.
Yeah.
I associated you more with West Coast
Yeah.
Wilson than I did with New York.
Dope,
So by the
dope,
time I
dope.
got there, I
West
just
Coast
figured-
Wilson.
I have West Coast Wilson.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, it was cool. I fuck with it.
Yeah, I love
Now,
New
what
York.
were you doing in New York, Jeremy?
So I had a family friend's wedding, but then my girl's brother lives out there, and I feel like I had a very New York experience. I had some jerk chicken ribs at this place called Sally's Fire. And the thing about New York is it's way more. I love LA. It's still my number one. LA, Canada, I think they're like tied for number one. But the Lower East Side is fire because it feels like you just walk places. People are very welcoming. They kind of just like party everywhere. You end up at a place you didn't expect to. It's a different energy.
You know what I
than LA.
did notice though about my New York trip?
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
The people are interesting when it comes to like if you don't take your way will be taken.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm starting to understand why.
So we're tough in our own way. I know we don't
I'm
have
starting to understand. Like, there's a girl I know who's from Brooklyn. She's extremely aggressive, and shout out to B. And she's extremely aggressive, and I now understand why. Because I was walking, and as I'm walking in like different places,
Yeah.
it's like people would just walk in front of you, and I'm like, yo, my nigga, you didn't see me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm about, and then I went to a spot. I ain't gonna say where I went, and I was like letting people in front of me. I'm being courteous, like, hey, yeah, go ahead. And like I'm letting women go, and like she had her kid, and the dude
They
just
saying
walking.
pardon me, like aggressive.
No,
way?
they
Pardon me?
the dudes just walk, and I'm like, yo, my my Canuck. Like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying?
And
like,
then once you let one person in,
everybody go. Even the cars, bro. Like, people would just honk at you like, yo, I'm literally in the crosswalk.
And people almost hit people on crosswalks. I was in an Uber. We grazed the backpack of a girl. She didn't flinch. The Uber driver didn't flinch.
It was normal.
It was just a normal
It's
occurrence.
like fucking Tuesday, bro.
New York City, man. You miss hometown, man. You made me cry.
New York is a wild place, bro.
And of course, our guy Bull I Am, some business.
Shout out to Will I Am.
Yes.
I went out there with Will. We was out here pushing that line. Go download that FYI app. You know what I'm saying? The radio side of things just launched, so I was out there in support of that.
Crazy technology too.
Amazing.
Shout out Will I
Crazy
Am.
technology. And did you invite anyone you were with there to sit with us on the panel next time he's in town?
He's still trying to get that Charlemagne cameo, aren't you?
Bro, Jeremy
trying to
is
get
so
that.
like.
Have you met Charlemagne in real life? Is that what it is?
I've met him before.
Okay.
He
Yeah,
interviewed him
sure.
before on a red carpet.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, shout out to my brothers and sisters out there in New York City holding it down. Much love. We appreciate you.
What were you up to on the West Coast this weekend?
Being sick, man. I don't like being sick. I rarely get sick, so I'm just trying to, I'm on the tail end of it though. I'm not gonna be contagious, guys. Just
Did you catch up on the 100 gigs one more time when you had some time alone? You could just really sift through it.
You wouldn't think I'd have utilized that time that way. I'll say no, man. Maybe because being in a bar in a great space, I can't enjoy. His history.
We did become a trending topic this week.
Yeah,
though.
what we do?
Yeah, that Snoop Dogg Jay-Z conversation really led to a lot of conversation
I'm still
online.
mad.
A lot of people. Have you come to any new conclusions after seeing the poll
the
results?
world's a bunch of idiots that follow the wave.
You said what?
My whole thing is I said from jump.
Bro,
Here
we go.
I
The
already,
bigger picture,
I already
the bigger
knew,
picture.
DJ Hed, I already knew I was down by 20 points in the fourth quarter. I was saying this is a narrative the internet has started to create. As Snoop has become more and more beloved, everybody feels this way. It's so cool to say, hey, so I said that Snoop's the most popular rapper. Everybody says it now. So I knew I was going against the current trend, but yeah, it was just further reinforced that people have in their mind this thing. Meanwhile, I think the difference is, the last thing I'll say on this, my favorite thing to say, the last thing I'll say on this, is I do think that you really can't tell who's the greatest of the great unless the greats are all in one room. And when that person walks in, the aura that person has,
respect that they have.
that's the greatest person. And I think, Jay-Z finally came out the house for the Fanatics
40-40
3-day,
club,
40-40 pop-up. And you just see the energy when Jay-Z comes out. It's like, I get it that Snoop's so omnipresent and that's part of his legend, but, it's like to me, like when that Jordan NBA 75, when Jordan comes in the room, watch LeBron's language, watch everybody's language, like, so I still think my guy has the aura. I still think my guy's the biggest. I think any opportunity Snoop did, Jay-Z could have done if he wanted to. He's just not that social person. I get that his wife is so big. It's easy to dismiss him, and 50 Cent has pushed these narratives, and all these things have been pushed out. So ride the wave, man. But it is what it is. I stand on what I said. That's Jay's the biggest. I love Snoop, and that's still where I stand. I've not changed my opinion on it.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
And you feel the same way, and you feel even more strongly in your
I look
views.
at it like this.
In your views, Mr. DJ Hed.
We all of us here on stage and all of us in this building, we all used to shit on ourselves before we knew better.
Probably, yeah.
That's my statement.
So he needs some wipes.
He had no choice though. They gave us the diaper and said work it out. He had no choice.
I'm just saying, bro, like, I mean, when you Snoop saw that. You know what I'm saying?
A word? She said something? What happened?
Snoop saw it.
I ain't got no problems though, right? I don't want no problems with the DLWG.
You don't have no problems
He was
right
laughing.
now.
You received that? Snoop received that? What's his take? Does he feel confident that he's
Snoop,
a culturally golden
I don't want
figure?
to just talk out of turn, but Snoop said he loves me.
Does he like me?
Hey, Jay, trying
Hey,
Snoop
Joe.
fuck with me?
Meanwhile, Hope's so busy, I can't even hear if he's loving it. I'm
Does the
defending him out here.
DOG fuck with
I
me?
heard nothing from him.
The crazy thing is, though, what I will say is the reverse of like what I was thinking about is the Still Dre reference track, right? So it's like if we were talking about rappers, that's a different conversation. We were just talking about bars and lyricism. I think we'd all agree that Jay's impact has been. Maybe not all.
It's a fun debate, man. It's a fun debate.
It was
man.
good stuff.
I'm glad we did. And I think it's crazy, like there's like an aftermath to our debates. I love it. It's like it carries forth. Like
Yeah.
Oh no, that
It
was
means
that was a
something.
big one.
People see you in
Yeah.
the street.
Oh, that one
they're
was.
talking-
Oh, that one divided
That took
people.
over the weekend.
That shit divided people like Trump. I ain't gonna lie, bro. My timeline was an inferno. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, bro, like, what? Like, you think I'm like, yeah,
And then
bro.
you went to New York right after. Did anyone come up to you in the street and defend their king?
There was one person who mentioned something, but they didn't have an articulate argument.
And you do the Snoop Dogg and knock the buildings down like the
Nah.
Dog Pound video?
Nah.
New York.
Nah, I didn't have that experience, but you know, Jay-Z is like a GOAT. Like, he's a legend. You know what I mean? He should respect
so
it
is
as
Snoop.
such. He's just not bigger than Snoop Dogg. I'm just saying.
Agree to disagree.
That's the
Agree to
tweet.
disagree.
You did come to a different conclusion. Yeah,
There
we
he
have
is.
the Olympics at Elliott Wilson with the
I said, yo, if
emoji.
Daily Rap Fact says it, of course it's gotta be true.
Daily
Rap Facts?
It cannot be false.
Yo.
Here's the thing. If Jay wanted, Jay said, nah, I ain't doing it for $9 million. Like, you don't think Jay could have got $10 million? Like, I don't, like, what are we
But
judging
would he
about?
have raised the viewership like that? That's the question.
Ooh, there we
So
go.
Daily Rap Facts. Go ahead, bust it down.
Let's down
Certified
that Daily
cover
Rap
boy.
Facts, man. Keep the facts.
Daily Rap Fact said, I can't even read that. Daily Rap Fact said Snoop Dogg has officially made $9 million promoting the Paris Olympics in 17 days. He also increased the viewership by 79%.
Where are you getting these data from, Mr. Daily Rap Facts? What's this Daily Rap Facts?
No.
Why can't we
pause
have a real
needed.
reputable source with these with this
real
data?
hip hop journalism, Elliott Wilson.
From the Daily Rap Facts? We're gonna get whoever this kid is gonna bomb us on the internet.
Head
That's
has
out there.
become, I want to crown you officially head journalist because you
High five.
Oh
You're
God.
sparking conversations, asking the questions, getting responses, talking to real people, interviewing Blueface from jail, on the phone with
Woo!
Ninth Wonder, discussing topics, starting trending topics on
Are you
Twitter.
trying to take my spot too? Is that what's going on?
Hey, look, you was number 5. I'm coming for 4.
All right. Ooh, Charlamagne ain't gonna like that.
I don't give a fuck what Charlamagne like. If
he
you
wanted you on the
five,
list so bad, he might be.
if
okay
you
with it.
5, I want 4.
So you're gonna come in out of you didn't even enter list
Yes.
top 4 debut.
I don't want to
out
start
the
at
gate.
8. I want to start at 4.
So you gunning for it, 2025.
Nah, I'm fucking with you. I don't care. But yeah. So I do want to say this. Okay, revisiting things. We did revisit the Snoop thing. Elliott's wrong. That's cool.
This is accountability hour on the bigger picture.
Accountability. This whole
And
show.
Snoop loves you.
This whole episode's gonna be
And
accountability.
the thing is, Snoop loves you. Let's
Snoop
remember
loves
that
you.
first.
Snoop loves me. That's what. Yeah.
I
That's,
haven't spoke to Jay. I don't know how he feels about me, but Snoop loves you.
Snoop
That's
loves me.
this latest escalate.
So speaking of last episode, we had a conversation about adult contemporary hip hop.
Oh God.
Okay. And I said on this show that it's 2 people that I don't argue with about culture. One being Ninth Wonder and one being Killer Mike. I refuse to argue culture.
I
with
like
them.
that. That was a great
Yeah,
point.
good
I like
list.
that.
I'm not arguing culture with them men. Ninth Wonder calls my phone.
Well, first he hit you on.
Okay,
on the
look,
internet.
let
And
me
he
back up.
commented on our post.
So
Yeah, he was active.
So the conversation was, if you go back and watch the episode, but the conversation was Ninth Wonder was advocating for an adult contemporary hip hop category within the realm of the genre. I advocated against that, and then I found strongly, and then I found out that Ninth was the one lobbying for this, and I stood down because I don't argue with Ninth Wonder or Killer Mike about culture. Ninth Wonder commented on the post. He defended his point. We text. He said, first he hit me. He was like, yo, about 50 niggas hit my phone. And then after that, we jumped on the phone. We talked about 60, 70 minutes. I am now going to change my stance, which is why I don't argue with Killer Mike or Ninth Wonder about culture.
Because they make you fold. They make you
It's
fold.
not that he made me fold. He articulated a point that I hadn't considered.
Okay,
was the
tell
point?
us. Please enlighten us.
I am. So his perspective is based upon the fact that there's nowhere for legacy acts to go. And then you end up with mediocre music because these legacy acts are competing with what the kids are doing. The kids being younger generations, et cetera, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to have an LL Cool J album competing against a Trippie Redd album or whatever the case may be, right? So that was his point. And I was like, I get it. He said there's a radio station. Obviously, they play hip hop. We're all jumbled in together. So you might have a Dog Pound album, which came out. That album was incredible. We both agree. Primo's on the album, like it was a dope hip hop album, but it didn't get the look that it deserved because it's competing against an Ice Spice album,
The current.
or a Meg Thee Stallion project, or a Lotto project, et cetera. So then where did these acts go? So then now you get legacy acts feeling like they have to compete against the younger crowd, and they're either making the wrong kind of music, they're not making age appropriate music, or they out here, crashing out looking crazy, right?
Yeah.
So his point was that we need to give these we need to create spaces for us to be able to age gracefully and still have our own space for those things to live. And I agree. In Los Angeles, we have a radio station called K-Day.
Yeah.
K-Day is committed to these things where you can have a Dog Pound Smoke Up record with Snoop be a #1 A rotation record, whereas on Real 92.3, which is a hip hop station, it might be Drake or Kendrick or whatever the case may be. And then you also have people like Busta Rhymes, who has classic records. You got all of these people who have classic records but are still competing in the current space, right? Much like to Elliot Wilson's point, like I'm a legend, I'm an OG, but I'm still want to compete in this space, right? So then where do you have these spaces or where are these creative spaces for those acts to go? To Method Man performing at Summer Jam and him having the experience he had, right? And then you have all these examples of what's going on in the culture. And so Ninth was articulating to me, he was like, yo, I'm producing these albums with these OGs. Like he has records he has an album done with some legends. And he's like, but if I put it out, where is it gonna live? Right? Because there's no space for it. And so I agree, that's why I changed my stance. And again, I'm changing my stance publicly, which is again, the reason why I don't argue with Knife Wonder or Killer Mike about culture.
So he wants more stations, more awards given? Like how do you fix that problem?
Infrastructure in general.
Yeah.
Infrastructure in general, radio stations. It could be. I know there's playlists that exist on, for these artists and stuff like that. But it needs to be a space for a Method Man, a Busta Rhymes, a Missy Elliott. She just did the same thing. Make the style. I mean,
even more current. Nas doing all those records with Hit Boy.
Nicki Minaj and Missy Elliott literally just did the same thing. They both did arenas. And Missy's show, was crazy. Nicki's show, I'm sure it's the same thing. But then, if Missy was to drop another album today, does she exist in the same space as Ice Spice? If we're doing an award show, does Ice Spice and Glorilla now competing against Missy Elliott? I don't know that that's the right thing to do. So which is why I agree with Night Wonder.
It makes sense for radio specifically. Like they do have classic rock stations, right? And if an older act dropped, they might play them on the classic rock station. It makes sense for the streaming services if you categorize it just so you have all of those things in one place. But to your point, I thought it was interesting, and this isn't necessarily a counterpoint, but LL said something that I thought resonated with what you were talking about with the media space, where he's like, no, I want to compete right now. I'm not going to force these kids to like me or like my old shit. They're not going to go listen. So I'm going to put out something right now.
He said that on Joe Budden podcast,
Yeah, on Joe Budden podcast,
LL Cool J, yeah. Because LL's in his 40th year. He's about to drop the album, this Friday coming up? It's like, can you expect like a 17-year-old kid to know your history? It's like, if he don't like something I'm doing currently, maybe I can't get him to then understand what's going in. I got to make something that's competitive enough to maybe catch his attention, maybe catch his brother's attention, but I guess, Head, to your point, like with the classic stations, I wonder, like, if you have a K-Day in this light, to me right now, you could play all the classic records from these artists, but you could also play a current record from these artists. To me, it could all be still celebrating old school. Like you could play Rock the Bells and then play LL's new current song. Like I think there's enough now of our crop of artists where they have current stuff that still sounds good and they have their classic records. So I wonder, maybe that's the future. Where
Ninth's point was hip-hop is still a relatively young genre, right? We've only seen a few generations of hip-hop at this point. You know what I mean? Like, if you figure like we're 50, maybe like 50, 60 years old all in.
I'm older than hip-hop.
Yeah.
Right. You get what I'm saying? So the genre is not even old enough to where, so he was saying that if we don't think about this now and we don't take it serious, you'll get 100 years into a genre and then have no space for all of these people to still exist.
Yeah.
And so that's what and then his other point was, well, I can't talk about that because it's about the music. I think
a lot of it, LL's trying to do that with Rock the Bells also, besides himself as the artist. And I think that the big stigma to me is that I think if you call it adult contemporary, it just seems kind of like soft and not dope. Like, to me, it's all classic hip-hop. And to me, classic hip-hop is also maybe our classic artists still contributing to the culture with their new song. So maybe that song that LL just dropped isn't a classic like Mama Said Knock You Out, but he's a classic hip-hop artist, and therefore the shit he creates should be put in that light.
Maybe a new name for the category.
Yeah, I think it's like, so we should celebrate what does classic hip hop look like to us, right? Because we know the classic albums, the Life After Death, the Illmatics, whatever. So, but if our artist lives on to then still contribute to the culture, like a Common or Pete Rock, and make great music, that to me is still classic hip hop, because we have classic artists that are making
That's how they do classic rock.
So the other thing is that I want to ask y'all, both of y'all, is the question I asked Knife when we were on the phone is, how do you determine when that person has then gone on to the new category? Is it based on the music?
They're not competing in that space, like you said.
Is it based on sound? Is it based on age? And he's like, Naeem said it should be based on age and then also just cultural. But at that point, it's nuanced, just like the Grammys, right?
Yeah.
So I guess the question to y'all, if we were hypothetically to create this legacy category, how do you then determine who gets upstream to that category and is taken out of this one?
Well, determine if they're a classic hip hop act. P-Rock's already a classic hip hop act, right?
But when though? When is the threshold? Like when do you cut off? Like give me
no, I think you always have a chance to compete in the current landscape, but most are getting overlooked. So even like an example like a Nas Hit Boy, the internet can go crazy and say, oh my God, Nas is making these great albums with Hit Boy, but the numbers aren't there. So to me, that's still an example of a classic hip hop artist who still belongs now in that category, not in the current thing, because you can't judge his success by that. He's not getting that airplay.
So what do you think?
Well, okay, I don't think it could be based on age, because I think, for example, like your favorite, Jay Electronica, right?
My favorite.
Let's say he drops an album today. I don't think that should be considered adult contemporary classic or classic hip hop, because he hasn't done enough musically in the space where it's like he's a certified legend with everything he's put out musically, but his age would say he should be in classic hip hop. Like some of the Griselda guys are getting up there. If they drop an album, is it going to be classic hip hop? I don't think so, because they're still in this current landscape of like relevancy. But to the point of like, where do we cut off? I think that's where it gets tricky.
That's what I'm saying.
You don't want to have to tell somebody.
No,
I mean, even in the media space, like you kind of got insulted by them saying like, no, go be a legend,
I think
right?
that there should be not the absolute rule, because you want to hit magic where your classic record or your current record does compete.
Yeah.
And something breaks through, so therefore it doesn't go in the category. If Killer Mike catches one and it competes, then it competes. That's what you want.
But then you also run into the issue of camaraderie and collaborations, right? So you have somebody like Killer Mike, Killer Mike and E40. Killer Mike, E40, and Fat Joe, I think, do a great job of embracing the new Snoop, obviously. Yeah. But they do a great job of incorporating the new artists into whatever they're doing. Snoop Dogg drops an album with nothing but new features. E40 does it all the time, year after year after year. Killer Mike just did 2 songs with Blast, right? So then if they were to, hypothetically, I'm not making an announcement, if Blast and Killer Mike were to do a collaboration album, where would that live?
Maybe both, or maybe.
You know what I'm saying?
Like this first to the classic. I think that what we're saying is there's more of a need to find other outlets to celebrate classic hip hop. To me, not calling it adult contemporary, classic hip hop.
Legacy.
No, it's legacy. Yeah, legacy acts that like the same way we used to glorify the old model, glorify classic rock.
Yeah.
Same thing we said about classic hip hop. Like again, even if the current thing is not a classic record, it is Common doing this. It's LL doing this. He already is a classic act in hip hop. He's done enough to warrant his place. So these places have to have places to celebrate these albums, but it's not going to compete. The charts are always going to favor the new generation, no matter what and what's going on.
And if they get something to break through, then it can live in both. Like,
exactly.
For that Blast, Killer Mike, let's say the album lives under the classic hip hop category, but that single could still be played on mainstream radio, and it could live in both areas. So.
Yeah, we got to value our culture the same way.
Here's something that we're not considering too. When it comes to the Billboard, I just looked at the Billboard like Hot 100. When it comes to the Billboard, they don't necessarily lean into those legacy acts either.
No.
Like not really at all, right?
Yeah.
So then where's the space for those records to compete in the same space? Because you're not gonna see like LL. If LL, like his single, I don't even see it being talked about in that way. Like, oh, it's more like, oh yeah, he's he's big homie. Like it's an homage.
It's like a pat on the back almost.
It's an homage.
Well, there's almost no place for them to compete against each other, right? There's no place for them to compete. Like whether
that's why Versus was so good.
Yeah, that Common record is as good as LL's single. Like there's no place for these veteran acts to really compete either. With where the see either records are hitting or not, or which one's better out of the pack.
But then it also can't be time in the game either, because you got to think YG is 10 years in now. Kendrick is 10 years in now. Like
some of them 15
Drake,
out of that. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like so is Drake on legacy act in 5 years? You know what I'm saying? Like,
not if the pace he's at right now.
Well, he did talk about. You know what I thought was funny was everyone who's mentioned retiring.
I got one in. You set me up, man. You the lob up. I'm gonna slam it.
But he did chart. He did. I know. Okay, listen. Everybody was saying, "Oh, Drake's charting so low. It's so bad." I want to say, as someone who has not been super favorable to Drake up here, even with my Canadian heritage, my Canuck heritage, I think him charting all 3 songs, even though they were lower than usual, is very impressive for someone who did not promote the record. The records were basically leaked by him online beforehand, so it didn't even get a full version of a week to live on the charts. And there's no cover art. They were wavelength cover arts, and they all charted. If that's not actually a sign that he's still super relevant, if not the top guy in terms of numbers, I don't know what is. That's my thought.
To not go straight on the
Wait. You said top guy in numbers.
Numbers.
Okay, so
Okay.
hold on.
All right. Okay. You know. Okay. No. You get it off. You get it off. Okay.
Okay. Hold on.
ISO.
So, read the numbers.
Okay. I know he's not. He's the number 28 guy in numbers. But what I mean is, if he really
who's number 3? I mean, number 2 now in the Billboard Hot 100.
Number 3. No, Kendrick's
number 2 now.
Stuck on him
this week.
He's number 2? No, he's number 3 still. No.
He's number 3?
Yeah.
You sure?
3. Yep. That is.
Yeah,
That's his spot. He likes that.
Country's ahead of him.
Oh,
he likes that. That's
he's
stuck
stuck behind Country.
He's been comfy in that spot for like the last 5-6 weeks or so.
So when you said in terms of numbers,
I mean that he could easily put out a song that reaches the top 10 if he really.
We're excited by a top 30 Drake song.
No. But you said
he deserves more credit than he's getting.
But you just said in terms of numbers, though.
Kendrick is the number 1 guy in terms of numbers right now.
Okay, go back to the other tweet.
I see it. Okay. Yeah.
You know what's interesting to me? I won't make it about Drake. Actually, I'll make it about Lotto. That record, Housekeeping Knows, it actually charted higher than I think Lotto came in with Big Mama in 92. So for all this hype again with Lotto, only record that hit the Hot 100 off that album, usually when the album comes out now, multiple songs hit the Hot 100 from that album. So her Drake feature actually charted higher than the Big Mama record or any record from that album. It's kind of embarrassing to me, which again, I think my theory is the more and more I think about it, I still have Glorilla stronger sign Lotto. And I stand on it. Because Gorilla also sold more records first week. She sold 33,000. Lotto sold a little bit more than Ice Spice. I felt like they pushed that, so she sold more than Ice Spice. But I think it's a lot of smoke and mirrors. I think that Glorilla is actually more of a threat to the big hierarchy in female hip hop than Lotto is right now. Even though I do like the Lotto album a lot, it underperformed chart-wise. I don't know how anybody else could spin it. That's what happened.
If we're still in accountability hour, I would like to take accountability for not mentioning Doja Cat in the female rapper conversation, because I listened to her last album and bars were better than
I have to give it up too, right? I can't Gambino her, right?
Yeah,
I gotta give up.
Don't Gambino her. But also, if we're talking about arenas and sales, she's the only
You saw that twerk video. That's what you saw, Jeremy. You saw that little twerk video.
No, I did not watch that twerk video from Doja Cat. I don't need to see her twerking.
You said on stage. Not a live show.
But yeah, I'll take accountability.
Nah, Doja's killing it. I think those are the 4 to me. It's Nicki, Carti, Doja, Meg to me, really the order. And I have Gorilla at 5. I have Lotto at 6. I have Gorilla above Lotto. I think it's very telling that I can snap on Drake all day, but his song with her gave her a better look than anything off her album.
I'm just saying he still does have some juice. It may not be.
No, the Drake stimulus package still exists.
Yeah, it's just not the same battery pack.
No,
so is he really gonna put out? If
the records were big, if the records were dope, they would be up higher. The records just aren't that good.
They were just. Yeah. Okay.
Speaking of which, Big Academic says that he's gonna drop the Super Soaker.
Yeah. Yes.
Without Yachty on it. You took Yachty off the record.
We all said we didn't need Yachty on it. He listened.
Come on, man.
Hey, is that Sauce Walker? Is that he moved to Houston and now he's Sauce Walker? What is going on here?
Bro, that is
DJ Hed, what's going on here?
That you just said.
Go ahead, DJ Hed.
I'm just saying, shout out to Sauce Walker. Do we not see a silhouette that looks very similar? And they had beef in the past, so this could be a low-key shot. I'm just saying. So the Sauce twins did have beef with
DJ
Drake.
Hed, is that Super Soaker gonna be the one that really get in that rotation for the DJs?
Could this be the one?
I don't know.
And the summer right for Drake?
I still think he needs a certified smash. I don't think there's an undeniable record. Like if it was, if that one was undeniable, everybody would be like, this shit is undeniable. Like where's the record? It'd be a demand for it like that. I think it's just, I still want him to drop an undeniable record. I think he has it in him.
I agree with that.
What do you guys think about me? Okay, I think it's an overarching conversation about music that's been brought up by multiple people this week. Tyler, the Creator's interview about new rappers, we can insert it after, but he was basically saying that the new rappers today all group together. They all sound the same. There's nothing standing out. Whereas there was room when he was growing up listening to people. There was room for Pharrell. There's room for Kanye. There's room for Snoop. There's room for all these people that were completely different sonically, completely different star power wise, but they all stood out and there was room for them.
I love this art form so much, bro. And there's so many niggas out right now that aren't musicians that are getting treated like musicians because they make meme records or whatever. And I'm like, bro, this niggas out here that's really special, really aliens, really talented, really putting in the work. And y'all niggas giving this dip fuck who, these niggas publicly will be like, I don't give a fuck about music, I just do this shit for money. Like,
I agree with you.
Like, get your bag, I love that. But like, when every publication is like, hell yeah, let's put that out, man, a 15-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 20-year-old gonna see that and be like, man, shit, I don't really care about this shit too. This is a quick bag. Now you taking up space for niggas like me.
That
you
really
taking up
wanna be
space for
musicians.
people who really care about this art form. And like, I don't like that.
But do you get satisfaction?
And these niggas can't perform.
Nobody can.
All these niggas dress alike. Man, you go to 2003. Jay didn't sound like T.I., who didn't sound like 50. Pharrell didn't sound like Dre, who ain't sound like fucking Quick, who ain't sound like Ye or Just Blaze or Alchemist. Eminem didn't sound like fucking Jill Scott. Jill Scott wasn't trying to sound like Julian from the fucking Strokes. Everyone was them fucking selves. Now, like, everyone is doing cosplay. It's a Spider-Man meme of like the next nigga. Everyone uses the same slang. Nigga, you are from LA and you saying slime?
Yeah, exactly.
We don't say that. It's crazy how the internet has made everything so like homogenous, like nothing is its own thing no more. And I think in like 3 years, like either everyone's just gonna be the same color or it's gonna pop and the next generation is just gonna go so left and wanna be themselves that it's gonna be like.
And then Russ kind of had this similar sentiment in a tweet where he was talking about when he was growing up, you know, even during the blog era, there was all of these stars. There were all of these big artists that still today are carrying the game in terms of the biggest artists in the game. And it doesn't seem like we've had a superstar or a batch of superstars in a long time. Is there something wrong with the music? Is it the environment we're in? What is going on right now? Is there less soul in the music? Like, what do you guys think about the landscape of just music right now?
It's a combination. Landscape, volume, music, it's all relative. There's so much music being put out into the ether that it's hard to consume and isolate and concentrate on one act like it was during the blog era. Like when you were on like Nah Right, Two Dope Boys, Double XL, like Complex, Dat Piff, like when you were like their chosen one, then life was different because it was like, oh, everybody had to smoking section, everybody had to like pay attention. Yeah. Now it's anarchy, but then also it's them records. I also think I want to shout out to my boy, my big bro Pooh and the homie Eastside K-Boy. He's an artist here from LA. And I had this conversation with both of them separately about artists and the recording process. Artists aren't trying to make records anymore. They're just doing these bullshit ass 2-line punch-ins. And there's no thought going into it, which is why you have mid music.
Where did that come from?
To the point, to Russ's point, there's a lot of mid music out here, and I think it's because people aren't writing songs. They're writing on the bravado of, man, I don't write. It's like, bro, you are not Hove. Write some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you are not Blast, bro. You can't just go in here and freestyle a hook. There's a twos and fews of people who are blessed and ordained enough to do those things. You are not that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. For instance, a lot of us, me myself, I got to work out. I don't have a high metabolism, just walk around like and just peel out my shirt and just look great. That ain't how this shit go down. Like, God didn't bless me like that, my nigga. So I gotta get in the gym. I gotta eat salads and shit. I gotta fucking do some work. You gotta do the same thing as an artist. Get in there, bring in, shout out to Simba. Bring in songwriters, bring in hook writers, bring in people. I said the same thing to Nipsey. Stop doing your own hooks. You know what I mean? Like, let somebody collaborate with you to make the bigger record. And I think the veterans understand that, which is why obviously all this is coming out like, oh, Kanye uses 30 writers, Drake, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but they also are on the top of the charts.
And make the best
And make the best music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's very few. There's one Kendrick Lamar, bro. There's one Jay-Z. There's one Beyonce. There's one Nicki Minaj. There's like these, and even Nicki.
And Beyonce uses.
And
30
Beyonce got
writers.
a million motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Bro, I've seen, I don't want to say where it was, where it came from. I saw somebody EQ a string, bro, ad nauseum. To the point where it was like,
Get that string right.
it was boom, like a one string pluck, and it was like they went through 30 different variations.
Couldn't
of
get it right.
And it's like, no, that ain't the right one. My nigga, they all sound the same to me. I'm out of
You
here.
were strung out.
I gotta go. This is too much.
Well,
you
that's
know?
the thing I think this people when you
But
say.
I think the artists to the point, I think the artists aren't doing it. They aren't going in with a methodical approach to creating music, which is why the music sucks. And it's not timeless, it's not lasting, it's microwavable, it's here, going fast, whatever. Also, the producers. I said it before, fuck with the producers. Everybody ain't a producer. You know what I'm saying? Some people beat makers, some people are arrangers. It's a music has always been collaborative. Before we had laptops making music, there was a band creating the sound. And you only played the flute, you only played the trumpet, you only played the guitar, you only played the drums. You never see Questlove on the Tonight Show playing the drums and then hitting the keys and playing the sax. Like, that ain't how this shit work. It's always been collaborative, and I think that's what's hurting the music.
Yeah, I agree with Hed. I think it's the volume game and they're chasing hits, right? So am I trying to be a craftsman or really build something? Or like, if I can catch a lick and sound like Playboi Carti, maybe this record will go. Like, whatever's popping is what's popping. I think they want the results quickly. So I think that's there's no entry point, and it goes back to artist development and those type of things. Like, that's more of a long road to success. People want instant gratification. If they're making records in their house and they got their garage band and they want to see results quickly, or else why am I going to do it?
And I think it was interesting too, because I was trying to think back on who the last superstar was or would have been to take over for this generation from the blog era. And I could only think of XXXTentacion, because I think what made him a star was beyond the music being good, was the care that he put into wanting to be a star and care about his fans. Like, I don't think fans have as much connection to the artist as they did when you guys were coming up, when I was coming up, even in the blog era, where you knew stuff about them, there was interaction with them, you watched all their interviews. Even now, with the access that people have on their phone, no one's really connecting in the same way. He would talk to his fans about like manifestation. He'd be on live every day giving inspiration. Even I remember Joe Budden on Everyday Struggle said he got emotional listening to X because the music felt like there was something there.
Yeah.
I just think it's also a product of the fact that we're so quick to judge right now that even when people do put time into an album, whether it be, Jack Harlow or Cordae or Roddy Ricch or Chance the Rapper, even when they do put time into an album, the internet can be so quick to just shoot it down and that's it, never give it another listen, that I think people worry about, is it worth my time to put all of this effort and soul and care into an album for the internet to just, sorry, I'm done, trash.
Stop making music for the internet. Make music for people. Human beings are at the core of everything. Like, I get the AI, I get all of that shit, but when you stop doing stuff for humans is when you lose. You have to do stuff for people, for human beings. The algorithm, everybody's doing, you got to think, it's people out here going viral, right?
Yeah.
And there's people out here doing these shock videos, these prank videos, all
Walking
kind
up on
of stuff like that. You're doing it for a computer algorithm who don't give a fuck about you. So then that computer algorithm who don't give a fuck about you is relaying it to other people who don't give a fuck about you. So then we all can collectively not give a fuck about whatever you're doing, right? If you're doing stuff for human beings, one of the biggest accounts that I follow is the dude who does viral videos, but he's giving money away to people who need it, right? Holding a sign, say, if I'm blindfolded, give me a hug if you need one. And people are hugging him and they're crying and shit like that. Those things go viral just as much as the bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think, maybe I'm getting too deep with it, but when you create music for human beings and not an algorithm, I think you'll fare better. I think that's what the top dogs do.
It goes back to your why. I think we talked about it on like the second episode. Like, why are you on the microphone?
Yeah.
For what?
Why should I care about you?
What is your purpose? And like, even when we do this, like, of course, there's a certain point where we're talking to people or responding to comments, but it's like at the end of the day, if somebody walks up to you and said, hey, I really like what you said on the show, like there's a guy on the plane who's like, yo, I'm really excited for next week's episode. Didn't know him.
Yeah, they gotta know how you feel about things. Elliot's hard on Drake right now. Whatever they have to connect to what you really feel, who you actually are. I think you made a good point. I feel like a lot of it was lost of a generation where Triple X or even Mac Miller or like Juice WRLD, like there was a human connection with these artists and their fans, right? That kind of lacks now. You know, unfortunately, a lot of these brothers passed away.
Yeah.
And that's why I think what you strive for, you want to, like to Hed's point, it's like you can chase that algorithm hit thing all day, but if they don't care about you, you're not going to be able to even sustain these fans that you get off these 1 or 2 hits that you have. So you might as well try to figure out who you are and what you represent and present that to the audience.
Somebody brought up to me, and I'm not trying to take a shot, but I was in New York. And, you know, I mean, if you've ever been to New York.
Stay out of New York, this guy.
If you've ever been to New York, you know the relationship between New York and New Jersey, right? And so I remember having a conversation with somebody about Fetty Wap, right? And they were like, yo, what happened? Like, you know, what happened to Fetty Wap?
2015, he ran it.
And I was just like, I honestly think that, you know, he got caught up into the hype of everything and made some bad decisions, and, you know, he is where he is now. But that wasn't the point. The point was, if you look at what Fetty Wap was at that time, right, 2015, even 2016, right, as he was the #1 person in hip-hop.
Couldn't miss.
In hip-hop.
Maybe even outside of hip-hop.
Like,
at that point.
overall, right? But then, tell me something you know about Fetty Wap.
His eye thing, we don't know those stories.
No, tell me
anything
you know about Fetty Wap.
1738. That's it.
So going back to my point, and I was making this point to who I was talking to about it. I don't want to blow the spot up, but it was like, bro, it ultimately comes back to a connection point, a connection piece. Who are you? Why are you? What are you saying? Why are you saying it? You can make turn up all you want to. Like Meg Thee Stallion is a perfect example of, I think her fans have a genuine connection to Meg.
Yeah, because Nicki
Minaj has a genuine connection with her fans, right? To the point where if Nicki stopped doing music and she started just swimming lessons, she would have the #1 swimming company in the country.
Easy.
You know what I mean? Like, but that's the human connection of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's where artists go wrong. They either try to be too mysterious, or they try to be celebrity, or they get caught up in their own hype, or they make poor decisions where people have discontentment and they don't want to fuck with your movement. You know what I mean?
You can't, what it is you can't be strictly a hit maker and be a superstar with a connection to your fans, because if all you're doing is turning up, your fans aren't turning up all the time. It's a Sexy Red conversation we had where maybe, you know, she's showing more personality, so maybe she's building a bigger connection. But if you only listen to somebody for a specific reason when you're going to the club or when you want to be turned up, but you can't turn down with them and you can't ride in the car with them or you can't go through heartbreak with them, you can't connect with them in the same way. It's different.
I got a different take on something, and I'll accept criticism on it. But I think that, so we give Drake credit for coming back out of the Pusha T situation with God's Plan. And that
was pre.
Before.
I'm sorry.
Everybody always gets that wrong.
In Your Feelings.
We do In Your Feelings, right?
And Nonstop.
Nonstop and
right.
Mob Ties, which you hate.
Yeah. In Your Feelings. #1, it's huge, right? Big comeback story, whatever. I think that the Pusha T thing humanized him and garnered him more fans and more support, because he was humanized and not just this generator of hits, right? So if you think about it,
and he was so dominant that time.
Up until the Pusha T point, he had no chinks in his armor.
Untouchable. Won the rap battle against Meek,
right? Non-stop hits for a decade. But then when the hits stop, where's your point of connection with this artist? What do you know about him? Where does he stand politically? What is he standing on? I think 3 things happened for him that were unintentional, that helped him, but didn't look like it in the moment. The Pusha T battle, him and his relationship with his dad, and his son. Those 3 things, I think, garnered him more engagement,
humanized him,
and more support. Because if you think about it, and even in the court, they bring what's called a character witness, and they try to humanize the defendant. Like, hey, this is my uncle. Like, he taught me how to ride a bike. Like, blah, blah, blah. I think those 3 things humanized him because it made him take a loss. Like, oh, Drake takes L's too, like I do. I got fired from my job, whatever. Oh, Drake had a son. Damn, I'm a father. Like, damn, somebody else blew his spot up.
Out. The whole thing.
Yeah,
wasn't
somebody blew his spot up. My baby mama blew my spot up. You know, with shit like that. Or it could be the other thing. It's just I think that these things are overlooked in the human component of it, and I think that he got way more support.
It brought him down to earth.
It brought him down to earth to the point where now people could relate to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Somebody actually did say we should take a shot every time you say, "Does that make sense?"
Oh, I try to be clairvoyant. I saw a comment that somebody said that. I want to know if I'm not far off.
No. I agree. I think
That's the first time I said it though. Hey,
you say that a lot?
Righteous, wealthy. Yeah, I think I say it because I think that sometimes I think very obtuse, and I want to make sure.
You want to clarify.
I want to make sure I'm not way off.
But so
no, I agree with you.
To your point, I think so. Drake's an interesting case because I think. For me,
oh, Drake again. All you want to do is talk about Drake, Jeremy.
I know, this is me. But I loved Drake from the beginning because I felt like I connected to his emotional side, his struggle for success, his climb. Like early Drake, he was very vulnerable. People made fun of him. We got to remember, like before the tough guy shit, he was literally memed to death during Take Care. A lot of Take Care on Lord Knows, he says he's responding to the backlash of people calling him soft. Like he says, like, you know, I don't make music for people who don't get pussy. Like those are the people that I count on to diss me or overlook me. He was saying like, I make music about relationships. Yes, this is me. So I think that moment almost brought him back to a point where he was an underdog again. Like you almost got to same thing happens to Kanye all the time when he self-destructs
Kanye always
his career,
resets,
right? But you're cheering for them because you're like, oh, okay. And he took a moral high ground, whatever that. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to get involved. But the way he did it was he talked about his son on the album. He talked about his struggles. He talked about like he opens that album by saying the crown is on the ground, but it's shattered in pieces. We got to he basically, which is to our point. If he did that right now, I think it would help.
That's what to my point. If he were to reset, I think he would galvanize support from not only his fans but other people who are probably not his fan already. Like, yo, you took a crazy L, bro. The whole world, the Olympics, and everybody is fucking with this record. But if you were to just be like, yo.
The Democratic National Convention.
Bro, bro, Kamala Harris, like, come on, bro. Like, this shit is insane. Yeah. So if you were to completely acknowledge it and be like, damn, I'm just like you. If he were to go back to vulnerable Drake, I think it would be beneficial to him. But my point was, I think that those things help him. And I think that going back to what I was saying, the human point of it matters. Yeah. And everybody is overlooking that when it comes to music and the industry and the business and all that.
Correct me if I'm wrong here. The only superstar.
Let's take a shot every time he says, correct me if I'm wrong. No, I'm fucking with you.
The only superstar who is not built, the only two superstars who has not built a human connection to their fans in any way beyond giving them music, Travis Scott and Playboi Carti.
And it's going to hurt them.
In the long run.
It already has hurt Playboi Carti.
No, I think Travis has a certain connection of like, again, he toned it down because of the tragic moment, but like this sort of turn up, like my fan base loves me, this rabid kind of energy with his stuff.
But is it beyond the music?
Everything's high energy. No, but at least it's a connection to like energy and coolness, and it's kind of rock star, right?
Yeah.
It's black rock star. So I give him that though. I feel like it's a certain energy of like, you know, he's my kick ass, he's t-shirt, he's like rah, rah, rah. It's like that type of black rock star thing. So I think he has a little of that, but no, not the real person. And does he make eye contact more? Does he raise his head more in photos? You know, a little bit of that. But no, I think he gives you a little bit of that, but you're right. It's not a full vacuum. With Carti, yeah, there's nothing there with Carti to me.
I give you a different take. I got a different take on the Travis Scott. I think you're wrong. I think it's not that. I think the family is what changed things for him. Because if you think, everybody looks at the Kardashian situation as, I guess, a negative. Like when you get involved, black men get involved with that family. I don't think it's, that's a real thing. I do believe in that. I believe in that. I want to preface that. But I think it's a separate piece to that. You got Travis Scott. You got Kanye West. Yay, right? And I think that, I don't know how far down the rabbit hole we want to get on this, but I think that them being involved with that family, it wasn't a celebrity thing. It wasn't a rich thing. It wasn't a sensationalized, like, oh, they're doing it for clout. I don't think none of that matters when it comes to the music side of it. I think what it did was show people that they're people and they go through shit. Because you don't get that in Travis Scott's music. Kanye has been going through shit his whole career, right? But the one thing that we thought we saw with his back and forth with the family and the kids and all that is, Ye loves something more than himself. And that's like crazy.
That's a good point.
That's crazy, right? Because once Miss Donda passed, Ye went full in on Ye, and he was all about Ye until he had a family. And now he's like, bro, I just want to see my kids. You know what I mean? Like you see that even with Northwest being front facing now, like he has her at the shows. Like
he does love his kids.
He loves his kids. You know what I mean? And that's important to know. Same thing with Travis Scott. Travis Scott does these crazy over the top production, these shows, blah blah, and everybody knows him as the rock star. But then you see him with his daughter. You see, and it's like, damn, like okay, he's a dad. Those things are important to the human relatability of these artists. And I think you don't see that with a lot of artists. Same thing with Cardi B. I think the Cardi B and Offset drama also helped
humanize
them.
Her, yeah.
Because it brought them to a level. Like Cardi B has always been vulnerable. She's always been, she's been a beloved and a train wreck, like both. Depending on whatever week you catch her, right?
Yeah, you're like, come on, Cardi, but you're like, I also get it, but yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, yo, I'm a mom, bro. Like, and I'm pregnant, and like I'm doing these things, and you see these people go through real life shit, getting cheated on, and same thing with 444 and the Lemonade album. Those things
that humanized them.
Those things help when you show that level of vulnerability. But I think it's when you able to connect the reality show, quote unquote, the reality show of your life, right, with the music. That's the perfect fusion of what this is. Travis Scott hasn't done that yet. We haven't gotten the record Big Sean just dropped with his son. We haven't gotten that from Travis yet. Those things would help, in my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, no, well, he it's funny because he went through a lot, right? Like with the Astroworld situation, he went through a lot. It's kind of how I felt about Megan Thee Stallion, where I would love to hear them reflect on these situations in a real way, whether it be through their music or properly through an interview where you're able to feel the emotion. Because that, to me, is the roller coaster of life, the highs, the lows, the ups, the downs. When we hear Kanye talk about it on the music, when we hear Drake talk about it in the music, when we hear Kendrick make a Mr. Morale or Jay-Z make a 444, we connect, maybe not directly to the experience, but to the point of like, oh, this is a human being that went through an emotion that I may go through or I just went through.
The stuff that goes viral, I think, that we look at and we talk about and we post and we meme and shit like that, but also is the most relevant, the most relevant and relatable things. When Ye was on TMZ and he was like, y'all made me feel like I was fat. So I stopped taking the medication because it was making me fat because y'all kept calling me fat. That's some real shit to say on national television.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think those things are like important to the human component of these people who we idolize through their music. Playboi Carti, I don't know nothing about that man. Not one thing. I'm just being honest with you.
I honestly
I know 2 songs and nothing else about him.
He's just the music. Fiend. It's his fault. That shit that I hate.
It's his fault. I don't like
Fiend thing is his fault.
I don't like the Fiend record either. I think that these artists need to pay closer attention to building. Even if you are a megastar and you don't need that one-on-one, you can still create moments where you have that connection with your people, with your fans, and be ground level at the same time. You know what I mean?
ScHoolboy Q, I think, has been doing a great job.
Amazing job at it.
Like he's really
Did
reconnecting.
You just go to ScHoolboy Q show?
Yes.
How was that?
I went to Q show. Listen, let me say this. ScHoolboy Q is one of those artists who, one, he does get a lot of credit, but I don't think he gets enough credit because he's so low key and he's so down. I'm saying this for a reason. It goes against you when you're so reachable and so relatable and so down to earth, because then you no longer get the acclaim that everybody else gets.
Yeah.
Vince Staples being another one, right?
Yeah.
You no longer get that affinity that everybody else gets, that star power, that wow factor, because you're so relatable in a sense. Q is one of those artists who thinks about everything. Like he thinks about everything, and I didn't realize it until we sat down and talked about the Blue Lips. We talked about the Blue Lips album, and I was like, yo, did anybody ever point out the fact that you removed yourself from the cover of all your albums? And he was like, what you mean? He was like, you caught that? I'm like, yeah. Like, ever since
Habits and Contradictions,
the first one, he's no longer on the cover. Well, it was his baby. Oxymoron was his like a baby picture or whatever. But ever since then, like this last 4 or 5 albums, it's been just random art.
Yeah, he's not front and center.
He's not on his album. He's like, yeah, that's intentional. And so I asked him about it. You can check it out and dive into it. But like different things like that people are not meticulous about. He's very meticulous about his stage performance, the way he goes about doing his shows and stuff like that. One of my favorite songs from him is called Blessed. No, let me retract that. It is my favorite ScHoolboy Q song. It's called Blessed. It was off of Habits and Contradictions.
Is it Kendrick on that one? Yeah.
Yes.
Classic.
It's my favorite ScHoolboy Q song because it's the most relatable.
It's vulnerable.
It's the most relatable, vulnerable, and it's not even a slap. It's not a slap, but it's one of them records that I have in my playlist and all that kind of shit. And for years, him and I would argue about this record. Because I'm like, bro, you need to perform this record. Hey, man, fuck that record, Head. That shit T. You know what I'm saying? I was on drugs when I don't give a fuck. There's a lot of people on drugs right now.
They can relate.
Yeah, and so I think that even artists get in their own way of those things too. But I went to the show. Show was dope. Shout out to Devin Malik who opened up. Shout out to AZ Chike too. And I think that if you get a chance, man, go see Q because he leaves it all on the stage.
They do 4 shows sold out here?
Yeah, he did 4 shows in LA. Sold out.
Shout out Q.
ScHoolboy Q, big deal.
Do you guys think, are all of your favorite songs from your favorite artists something that you've connected to personally?
Now, one of my favorite songs ever is called Get Jiggy With It by Will Smith. And I don't know what the fuck Getting Jiggy With It mean to this day.
He might not know. He sometimes just be saying shit on records.
I forgot who wrote that record. Didn't somebody write that record?
They're saying Nas.
Nas wrote Get Jiggy With It?
Yeah, allegedly.
Oh my God. That's
Allegedly.
He should have kept that for himself. Then
So you love Get Jiggy With It from the beginning? But soon as
Then
he
he'd
touched
have
down?
3 slaps.
Yeah, he did. He wrote the entirety of the lyrics, it says.
That's crazy.
Nah,
So
nah, nah,
Hov
nah, nah,
gave
nah, nah.
So Hov gave Dre Still DRE.
Yep.
Nas gave Will Smith Get Jiggy With It. And
Who was it recently? Was it Juvenile or was it Manny Fresh that they said they gave the Who Let the Dogs Out?
That was
Manny Fresh,
stupid.
Manny
Yeah,
Fresh
yeah,
wrote
Manny-
Who Let the Dogs
Yeah,
Out, bro.
So stupid.
Bro,
And he said he didn't get no paper off that? He didn't take no publishing?
I don't even remember. Yeah, I think he said it was a throwaway. It
bro,
was like,
it's insane the amount of records that are given away. I would say something, but I don't know if this public
There we
knowledge
go
yet.
again. There we go.
But there's a record that
I
Kendrick
can
Lamar.
confirm nor deny.
There's a record that Kendrick Lamar and Duckworth is. I'll let the internet run wild with it. There's a record that Kendrick Lamar and Duckworth. It was his record, and he gave it away to somebody else, and it was still on the record. It's crazy.
I feel
So
like
what
I heard
record?
that.
The record that they put out?
The record it came out, and it was
was a hit, right?
It was a hit.
But did it credit Mr. K. Duckworth in the
I don't
credits?
know.
I mean, you see N. Jones is on the Will Smith. It's credited, right?
On which one?
Get Jiggy With It. Nas got his credit on there.
yeah.
It's not a complete Ghost Rider secret. It's there with the N. Jones.
There's also a record. Yeah. But anyway,
How about a clue? Can you give us a clue?
no. Shout out to DJ Clue. But I also I think that anyway, I was just saying the biggest record that I don't connect to is not always the case. Like you don't have to connect for a record to matter to you. It could be just fun, or it could be
Feels
just
good in the
feels
moment.
good, or turn up, or whatever the case may be. But
But no matter how many slaps that artist has, if you don't connect to them,
You need a few of them.
it's not gonna
you
last.
have to. I don't think you get Can't Jiggy With It.
You never got to know Fetty Wap.
Yeah, no, we didn't
Never
get
got to know
him enough.
Fetty.
I don't know nothing about him.
Honestly.
I know the eye thing.
Yeah,
That's it.
shout out to Fetty. Hey, what's your guys' wrestling walk-up song to your tweet earlier?
Yeah, what was that? What was that nonsense you was causing?
Bro,
over the
so
internet?
look, first of all, shout out to the chat. I'm a huge wrestling fan. In case they
You
figured,
wear T-shirts.
they
and,
figured
yeah.
that out already. You know what I'm saying? I'm a huge CM Punk guy. I'm a huge Rock guy. I'm a huge Stone Cold guy.
Triple H, man. Come on.
You're a Triple H guy?
Rikishi?
I'm not a Rikishi guy.
No.
Rest in
What?
peace to the
Yeah,
legend.
That's
rest in peace
crazy.
to the legend.
Rikishi.
But yeah,
It's for
no,
the bloodline,
I was,
right? Bloodline.
Yeah, right.
Bloodline. Respect the bloodline.
I respect
you
the
respect the bloodline?
I respect the bloodline, but I'm more of a, I like his sons more than I like. But anyway, yeah, so I'm a huge wrestling guy, and I love certain songs that I actually have in my playlist that wrestlers used to come out, and I listen to them in the car sometimes. When I'm feeling myself, like, yeah, I would walk out to this shit. So I was like, oh, let me just see what the universe is thinking. So I tweeted, like, if you were a wrestler, what hip hop record would you be your entrance song? I was a typo there. But yeah, I was typing fast as I was driving. So I'm just like, yo, what hip hop song would you use, Jeremy?
I wrote it down. Oh, all of the above, Mano and T-Pain.
You would.
Wow, Sal just Blaze on that. Just Blaze.
Just Blaze. Classic. And then Trophies by
I
Drake.
can see this fool, Jeremy, walking out with his Canucks jersey on. Tell me, what do you see when you looking at me? Whoa.
Crowd's hands are up. you
No,
know.
they won't.
What do you
You'd
mean?
be a
Why would they-
heel.
Don't call me a heel. That sounds insulting. I don't even know wrestling terms, but that sounds like I'm not
The bad
main
guy. The
character
bad
out there.
guy. You're the bad guy. You want to be a good guy?
You imagine me as a
face or
bad
heel?
guy.
Baby
Face is a
face.
good guy. Face is a good guy.
Yeah.
Heel's a bad guy.
You think I could pull off a bad guy?
Nah, you would. You want me to be honest with you?
Sure.
No, he'd be a bad guy.
I'd like honesty rather than
bad guy.
You want me to
bad
be-
guy manager.
You can be brutally honest. I won't say
I mean,
the worst
really?
thing. Yeah.
You'd get walked all over the WWE, bro.
Nah, Jeremy should be
you
the
would be
old
like,
school.
you would get mopped over in the WWE.
Here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
I'd get mobbed
They would
so
beat the fuck out of
I
you.
get so
Every-
mobbed so badly that everyone would be cheering for me. Like, one of these days,
I want
he's
you to
gonna
look
get a
up
W.
somebody when you get to the house.
Okay.
I want you to look up this dude. His name was Spike Dudley. That's who you would be.
Can
Now,
I
the
look him up
internet
right
know
now?
who Spike Dudley was. That's
Come
who,
on.
No, I'm just saying. Spike Dudley was a jobber. Look jobber up in wrestling terms. Look at what a jobber is. That's what you would be.
I got a different angle for Jeremy.
Read it. What is it?
Okay, a wrestler skilled at enhancing the matches they lose, as opposed to a jobber, is called a carpenter. In post, wait. What is the difference between a jobber and a journeyman? Okay, a jobber is somewhat like enhancement talent. Their place is to make the stars look good and put them over.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay. If that's crazy, because as much as you could say I wouldn't win a wrestling match, I have main character energy. Okay?
You do.
I need to be up
No,
there
you would be
in the storyline.
Listen, you would be a great valet or like
That's what I was gonna say. Bringing the managers back.
yeah. You'd
Jeremy Heck is the modern day Jimmy Hart. Give him a megaphone.
you'd be like Jim Cornette. No, you couldn't be Jim Cornette.
Yo,
Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy Hart, like Jeremy Heck as like the manager of the stable of bad guys, talking his ish through the megaphone, that type of energy. That's how I see him.
Oh, GM. You'd be a great GM. But they would punk you for their matches.
Every once in a while, I'd get.
They would punk you for the matches.
He has to be an
because you would be
authoritative
too
position.
nice. Like
Yeah.
you gotta be
you're
like
right. I wouldn't
you
stand
gotta
my
say no,
ground.
nigga.
No, I
You know
wouldn't.
what I'm saying? Like Booker T.
But like, say it differently.
Yeah. But anyway,
Can you come out to like non-hip hop? Because I would do like
Yeah, what's
some
yours?
like AC/DC Back in Black type
Ooh,
vibe. But
he sold out already.
Classic rock.
Nah, but that feels more wrestling to me. I want to come out to some.
So you saying wrestling's not hip hop?
It is hip hop, very much hip hop as we know.
What you mean?
Give me some examples. What is some of your
John
ideas?
Cena is literally a rapper
But then he said he
terrible
never heard
rapper.
about
with
the
a platinum
Terrible
record.
rapper.
He's
Well,
a platinum record.
So MOP Andy Up. I gotta come out the Andy
John
Up.
Cena got a platinum record. Elliot Wilson.
Does he have a platinum record?
It's platinum.
And he
Look it
didn't
up.
know
Platinum.
about the Kendrick Drake
Crazy
piece.
as fuck.
He was on Club Shay
Yeah,
Shay.
why was he
said
lying that he didn't
even-
know about the Drake Kendrick beef?
It's
Why
like
was he
Lupe.
copping? He's a Drake fan. He didn't want to
Yeah.
admit that Kendrick won.
The song I would walk out to would definitely be
Uh-oh.
either next episode or it would be
That's a good one.
I know.
That's a great one.
It would be
I know.
it would be next episode or the shiznit.
No, the shit doesn't work. It's too
What you
smooth.
mean?
It's too
You
smooth.
constantly hate on Snoop Dogg.
I love the next episode one. That works.
I'm surprised you didn't pick a public service announcement.
Like, why? What is
PSA, I
it?
could do PSA, I could do Andy Up.
PSA, yeah.
Could do Andy Up. What else is the good one?
There's some good Childish Gambino songs I think you can.
Hey, shout out to Childish Gambino too.
Arena.
2 arena shows here in Los Angeles at the Crypto.com arena.
He's a star outside of hip hop.
We're doing a class field
God
trip.
damn it, Elliot.
What happened?
What
We're
is it
doing a class
you
field
got a
trip,
problem with? All Young Money, Snoop Dogg,
All Young Money.
and Childish Gambino.
I have no problem with all your money.
And Drake. You hate success.
I've changed. I'm suffering from
What the
success.
fuck
That's
is
why I'm
going
a
on?
cold right now. I'm suffering from
That's what-
success.
that's
Jay, what the
came
fuck is
I'm suffering from success.
Do you hate success?
I'm suffering from success.
Do you like Beyonce?
She's incredible. She's great.
Do you like Beyonce?
Of course. That's my man's wife.
No.
Yes,
Do you like Beyonce? So
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Do you like
Regardless.
Elon Musk?
I'm not a fan, no. Not of that guy, no. I appreciate the platform.
I appreciate the-
I'm
what
very
platform?
prolific on X, Twitter. I'm very prolific
Elliot
there.
gets blocked
I
tomorrow
appreciate
from,
it, yeah.
from tweeting.
Don't disrespect Elon. He's trying to get me kicked off X Twitter, man. Do it, man.
You like again,
It's one of my
right?
outlets, man. Fuck you doing?
Sorry, Jay. Go ahead.
Okay, but if you couldn't go West Coast, what would be your wrestling theme song to come out to?
If I couldn't go West
What's
Coast?
a non-West Coast record you could come out to?
A non-West Coast song?
Yeah. It'd be so hard for you.
A non-West Coast song to walk out to as a wrestler. My brain don't even work like that.
It's just West Coast, West Coast.
No, it would be
Did Jeremy pick his song? You picked your song?
All the above, yeah.
All the above. How did you land on that? I gotta know the process.
As a kid, I remember listening to that before basketball games. Got me super hyped.
Whoa.
Yeah,
It's all like Just Blaze hooks.
tell me
all
what
the
do you
above
see
got you hype.
when you looking at me.
The Just Blaze hooks, man. I got Just.
I listened to that song when I was sad, and I needed to like boost myself up.
That's the exact same thing.
No, it's not the same thing.
Yeah,
fool.
it's boosting me
Joe
up.
Budden, Pump It Up is what you listen to before you go play basketball.
Hey, that's is that a platinum record?
Gold record.
Gold record.
And stop making fun of
That
Joe
is a
Budden because he got his
gold
gold
record.
plaque. Yeah, so
but
young
I
man.
would do Pump It Up.
Talking best.
I would come out to Pump It
Pump
Up.
It Up would
There
that would
you go.
work. Pump It Up would work.
Jersey City,
Shout
New
out Joe Budden.
Jersey.
One time for Joe Budden.
Yeah.
Pump it up, baby.
Hey, you know what? I saw Wayno talking about this too, and I also don't like the narrative that people are making fun of Joe for going gold.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
not making fun of him. I'm being serious.
Young Miami took a shot. I just saw Young Miami. But he said he did this when Carisha Police was shut down. He gave it another one bites the dust. So, but it's still not
It's a
cool.
reply.
I think it's dope. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think I don't necessarily think that it's too late for anything to get awarded for its dopeness.
Yeah.
But Pump It Up is one of them cult classics. Like Timbaland and Magoo drop, right? I don't know where that record stands. I don't know if it's platinum or gold or anything like that. But it's still a cultural record that everybody knows that gets played in every arena across the country, across the world. And it's one of those records that is in movies and television shows.
It's
and
probably bigger than gold, as we're saying. It's definitely bigger than
I was
gold.
actually thinking about that this weekend, how there's so many songs that don't have the numbers to back it necessarily, but are bigger than their numbers. Like Dreams and Nightmares, I looked up. The streams on Dreams and Nightmares aren't as high as you'd imagine. Like there's many songs that are ahead of it.
It's a cultural record.
But it's a cultural classic. What are other songs that may not have the numbers, but do that when you put it on if you're DJing or if you're at a party?
All I Do Is Win.
Yeah.
I think that record is bigger than the streams or
Sports games.
Yeah. Even
Some Chingy.
Right
there?
Right there is right there goes crazy.
No.
Jaquan Tipsy.
No, I'm not
Jaquan
listening.
Tipsy?
Yep, because
Tipsy?
the bar song referenced Tipsy, and that's the number 2 song.
I'm not
number 1
riding
song in the
right
country.
there.
All right.
No.
Jaquan Tipsy?
No. Hot in Here, Nelly.
That's probably a big song too. Numbers.
Numbers wise, it's huge, but I think the song is bigger than the numbers culturally. Even Will Smith, like Summertime.
Yeah. No Hands.
Waka. No
That's a
Hands.
good one.
Okay,
Waka
yeah.
No Hands.
Yes. And then
Wale's verse.
Yeah.
I don't like people not fucking with Roscoe Dash.
Yo, hold up.
Roscoe Dash Appreciation
Shout out
Moment?
to Roscoe Dash.
Hold on,
Tell
bro.
us why.
Tell us.
Tell us why
on,
you
bro.
mad. Is Roscoe Dash, where's he from?
No idea.
This is Rock.
He's not from the West Coast?
What do you
No.
mean? He was on the ATL top 50 rappers list.
Oh, he is? Oh, my
Okay.
bad. Hello.
He was
I
at
don't-
number 40,
I don't
I
like
think.
that shit. I mean, Wale did have to stand out verse,
Yes. Classic verse by Wale.
but
Oh, No Hands,
Roscoe
Waka Flocka.
Dash is on the song.
With the hook, you know, the hook.
It
Got
wouldn't
me
be the
the
song without
chains.
Roscoe Dash.
Well, his hook, his chorus.
I will say
saying.
this. I saw Wale in concert.
Like, bro, like
He brought out Roscoe
everybody
Dash.
be like, no hands with Wale. Nigga, Roscoe Dash is the hook. Like,
No. When I was at a Wale show, he brought out Roscoe Dash. I have never in my life expected to be so excited to see Roscoe Dash, but the crowd erupted. Like people lost that. You would have thought that Drake, dude, Roscoe is at number 41 on the Complex Top 50 Atlanta rappers all
God.
time. You think he should be higher?
I do.
I'm asking.
I don't fucking know.
I heard this list. They put Jeremy, for this list, they put all the names in a hat and then
They
just
just
picked
pulling
them
shit
out.
out. Yeah. Future, number 16. You
So,
know, just,
those are my guys though. It's all love.
I was
what the fuck
I'm
is
just
that
teasing.
about?
I do
Whose
think
list is this?
this is Complex's list.
Again, shout out to Complex.
And again,
Thanks.
so I'm confused. They made Andre 3000 number 1. Is Big Boy on the list at all? Or
Big,
number
Boy,
9?
Big
Hold
Boy's
on.
number 8.
He's number 8.
Big Boy's
right.
number 8.
So they break it up Outkast. Outkast never broke up, but they're breaking them up. That's what they do.
Yeah. So this is the top 10.
Okay.
Yo, who cares once you get to like the 40s?
Go ahead.
Like, seriously?
No, go ahead. Read it.
Yo, Pee Wee Longway's not 49,
Top 10.
man.
We're audio podcast, Elliot Wilson. Read
Sorry,
the top
my
10.
bad.
Okay. Number 10, Lil Baby. 9, 2 Chainz. 8, Big Boy. 7, Luda. 6, Thug. 5, Jeezy. 4, Gucci. 3, T.I. 2 Future, 1 Andre 3000. And this is what they said it was based on, okay? They said, what are the criteria for this list, which this criteria confuses me, but for this list, we use 3 determining factors. 1, skill as a hip-hop artist. 2, strength of their catalog. And 3, the lasting influence and commercial impact of their music.
I'm going to call Cap on Complex.
Cap it.
Catplex?
Shout out to Catplex. Because I don't see, I mean, that's not true. There's one album that exists. There is no Andre 3000 album where he's rapping. And you said, what was a catalog of what?
It was strength of their catalog.
Strength of their catalog. So
catalog.
Outkast should be on this list.
He's pointing now. He's getting mad now. Don't get him heated. He's pointing.
Outkast should be on this list. Stop fucking playing with the people's legacy like this, bro. Stop separating the Outkast.
You can't take that flute away from Andre.
Bro, Andre 3000.
Give him his flute
I
back.
fuck with Andre. I've had conversations with Andre about this.
Big Boy needs more respect.
Big Boy needs more respect.
You breaking up Outkast.
I don't like this because there is no Andre
So what did
3000
they hype it
album
off of? Did they hype
where
it
he's
off of-
rapping, bro.
Did they hype it off what the guest verses? Like because of the
fuck outta
International
here.
Players Anthem? Like it's so cool to say Andre's the best.
'cause
but
it's the cool thing to say,
outside
yeah.
of Outkast, like it's not even like he has like
Who wrote this article?
these are the free guest verses.
It was a combination.
A combination.
From
Full
Complex.
So all you human beings who put this together, where they got Lotto on the list?
They have Lotto at number 25. They
And
have
where they got Gucci?
4.
They got
Okay.
Gucci at 4,
Yeah,
and they got Lotto at 20 what?
25. They have Sahai the Prince at 48.
Yo, I don't want to talk about this no more.
A while back, I did a whole GQ article about how Future's the greatest rapper because they continually front on Future.
Yes.
Future's clearly number 1 in Atlanta currently, and in this situation.
You
right
said
now.
greatest rapper of all time?
Yes, right now. Yes,
No,
yes.
What do you mean right now? You
Who?
don't do that.
There's
Don't
the
throw
T-
extra shit in
there's
there.
the
to
T.I., Jeezy,
cover your
Luda.
ass.
There's no, Outkast is the greatest. Outkast is the standard, but they're together. So if he's judging by that, it's still Outkast. Outkast is the standard.
Okay.
Andre and Big Boy.
Okay.
But we don't live in a rap group world anymore. So now we're in individual solo acts. We all went through the T.I., Jeezy, Luda era, Gucci, Thug, all these. Future's above all of that. Nobody ever wants to say it or give him his credit.
Can you go back to the list?
Even in 2024. So Future is number 1.
Future definitely.
Future is the answer, as you like to say with Snoop Dogg. Future is the answer.
If we're
and
talking
they have him
about-
number 2 because it's not bold enough to say he's number 1. That's a statement you should make if you don't count Outkast as a group. Future's number 1.
Why they got Offset, Quavo? Like, that shit lame,
Don't
bro.
break the groups up.
No.
But I tried to say that you get back together. You shut me down last week and said
No,
let them
Elliot
chase
Wilson.
solo success. Fuck the Migos. You
Elliot,
said that.
I did not say that.
No disrespect. You said the Migos are over that. You had your closure. You said you had your closure at the BET
Fuck Jeremy
Awards.
Hed. No disrespect.
No, you said they had closure.
Why
You
am I
said they
catching
had closure
strays?
at the BET Awards. That little ceremony was good enough for you. There's closure in the Migos. So now they got to be judged that way.
No.
Quavo and Offset chasing their solo dreams.
When you
y'all
say
for it. Yo,
when
yo,
you
spirit
say
for it.
top 50 Atlanta, I guess rappers is a
They're
good.
breaking the groups up.
But
Okay,
they
so
said
hold
rappers
on,
and
let
then
me-
they said hip hop artists. So it kind of
They're breaking
should have said
groups
hip-hop
up. There's no
artists.
groups. They're breaking the groups up.
So if
There's no groups.
if the list is for rappers and not acts, I understand. I don't like it, but I understand. But acts,
If it's acts, Outkast is number 1. Future's number 2.
rappers, I understand the
Future's number one.
individualization of it. I don't like it, but I understand it. But to have
Are you uncomfortable with the idea that Future has eclipsed the T.I.s, the Jeezys, the Gucci's, that whole era, everything before that? Like
He had a longer run. Like if you look
Continues
at
to have
if
run.
he-
He's
that's what
currently
I'm
in
saying.
the
He's
run.
still on it. And Future started. When would you give him? Like 2000.
now I'm gonna call Capo Elliott Wilson.
2010. It's been almost a 15-year run.
I lived through the T.I., the Jeezy, the Ludacris eras. All left 2 Chainz. Little Baby had his run. Like we know all these things. Killer Mike is a beast. He sticks around. And then it's cool to say Thug and Gucci Mane because of their cultural influence. But none of them are touching Future. The catalog. Yes, DJ Hed. How are you, sir?
I'm just go ahead. I'm finished.
No, I was done. Go ahead.
I want to call Capo Elliott Wilson.
Okay.
Somebody throw a
It's
hat.
the accountability show, right?
Okay, this is accountability hour.
Okay.
At 2 hour.
So
Easy.
The cap on Elliott Wilson. His critique on Snoop.
I'm a Capricorn, but yes.
So am I. His critique on Snoop was he's not a better rapper or lyricist than his contemporaries, right? And he doesn't have the accolades or the bars to substantiate those claims when it came to the Jay-Z conversation. He's saying that Future is #1. Rap me a Future 16. That's hard.
Nobody does Future 16. That's not what he's about. It's not about that.
Dirty something in the styrofoam.
March Madness.
Spend a day
Dirty
to get your
Soda
mind
styrofoam.
Rap me a 8.
It's a different style.
Rap me a
I
4.
couldn't give you a Luda 16 off the head. I couldn't give you a T.I. 16 off the head.
You could?
That doesn't matter. I mean, if I really had to.
Give me a Future bar that fuck with you. That you fuck with.
This is why this is the same shit we shit on last issue. This is like a skills competition. That doesn't prove why somebody's the best. Like, can you do their verse off the head? That's skills competition. That's the thing we said before. Like, I don't judge it by that. It's not, I'm not saying they're
You
the
did
best.
judge it by that.
It's not the lyricist contest.
Yeah,
It's
but
about
you
the
were
artist.
Yeah, but you were judging it off of that when we were talking about
with
that.
Snoop?
With Snoop, you did it with Snoop, and you did it with
Did I do that?
Kind
No.
of. Well,
How?
you kind of said, because the argument.
Does that make sense?
The argument
Take a
was.
shot, bitch.
Jay-Z's bigger than Snoop culturally, globally.
But you
impact-wise.
said he didn't do what Jay-Z did musically with his albums, with the record sales.
Yeah, not lyrics by
and lyrics
verse
as a
one.
part
No,
of
like,
it.
there's no
Because
verse
you said
contest.
basically Jay-Z's the bigger rapper as a rapper. That's why you didn't put Snoop ahead of him in the bigger
I put
conversation.
Jay above all things. Again, let's get back to it. So if you take Outkast out, if you don't agree that Future's the greatest of the best, what is it? What do they say? The best or the greatest?
This
How they
is
judge again?
top 50. So they don't.
Atlanta rappers of all time.
Atlanta rappers, and they said hip hop artist. Skill is a
So
hip hop artist, so
if I
skill
don't
matters.
count Outkast, I
Skill
say
matters.
Future. You tell me who you guys have if you don't have Future. And I'm not gonna make you do a 16 by them.
I'm not mad.
It's a tie between T.I. and Jeezy and da-da-da. It's like
I just don't like that they put rappers.
Who's the guy? Who?
in the title.
Who got it? Who's ATL?
Top 50 Atlanta rappers of
No,
all time?
number one.
Who's
Go
number
to
one
the top.
Atlanta
I say-
rapper of all time?
If it's not Outkast, if it's not a group,
It's Outkast.
if it's not Outkast, I'm saying
If you can't pick a group?
solo act, it's Future to me.
Okay, I
Your
beg
pick
to
is?
differ.
Yes, who was your pick?
Mine would be Ludacris.
That's cool because Luda's such the underdog that nobody
Bro,
says
you
that.
always...
It's such bullshit. Such
Bro, what
bullshit.
you mean? I said Ludacris.
Bullshit.
I did a whole ISO on this
did.
show about Ludacris.
So is that personal favorite or you actually put him up there? You can stand by beside your own personal interest.
I would
with it,
stand
too.
by Luda. I would stand by Luda when it comes to the charts, and I would stand by Luda when it comes to the cipher, and I would stand by Luda when it comes to a rap record, and I would stand by.
Okay, all right, I respect it. Okay.
You gotta
Jeremy?
learn how to shut the fuck up in 2024.
Jeremy?
I just
Jeremy, who
think
do you have?
I have two exceptions that I want to place on the list first. I would put Russ on the list because you can't, as I love Roscoe Dash, but besides No Hands, you cannot tell me that his catalog did more than Russ's
You telling me
catalog.
that's who you pull it out the
Oh,
list?
you see
No.
number 33?
No, I put I wouldn't have
God.
Lil Nas X
Take
on that list.
Gambino out and put him there, right there.
Don't do that. But I also would say, are we
Yeah,
leaving
who
out?
has a big Gip verse? Like, what's the big Gip verse?
Are we
Number
leaving
32.
out Young Jock?
It's going down?
It's going down.
It
We're
went
gonna
down?
put Roscoe and not Young Jock.
It says top 50. Hey man, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not from Atlanta. That's their politic.
Well,
No Atlanta person made that list. Complex made that.
you want to make a
Who
West Coast
Atlanta?
list?
Hell no, I don't want nothing to do with it.
Jeremy, who's your number one?
I'm between T.I. and Future, but I'd probably give it to Future in terms of the longest run in Atlanta history. In terms of mainstream run.
I don't think I guess that's the easiest takeaway I'll say is I don't think Future gets the credit for the length of this run he's on, even currently. We glorify the Jeezy era, the T.I. eras, the Luda eras. And Luda's underrated still, but because we glorify more the T.I.s than the Jeezy eras. We give it all up to Gucci Mane and Young Thug because of their cultural impact. And in that's lost Future's continuous reign of terror. It's like, it's insane.
It's just hard because when they put the category as skill as a hip hop artist, that's so vague. Like, are we talking about
broke the
bars? Are we
mold.
talking
He
about
broke the mold.
musical? I would put Jermaine Dupri higher though if we're talking about skill as a hip hop artist.
Because
with his
even
catalog.
like, this is why I love We Don't Trust You. It's like they're using Prodigy as a muse, right? They're sampling Prodigy's voice, and Prodigy's like Mr. Bars, like it's the traditional East Coast thing. Future style's not that, but Future loves that shit. And he does it his own unconventional way, raps his shit off. He's in the concert with the Wu-Tang shirt on.
He grew up in the
He loves
Dungeon
that
family.
shit too. Like, he comes from that. It's not his skill set to bar you up traditionally, but it doesn't take away from his ability to make great music continually. Has the biggest album of the year, We Don't Trust You, him and Metro, the top album hip-hop of the year. No one's touched it to me since, whether people want to say it or not, whether the Billboard charts want to recommend it or not, or people still stream it enough. It's still the top album of the year. And his run is amazing. And these other guys aren't as relevant. and he's still out here killing it on top of the game. Like, who's the most relevant to go against him right now off that list?
Maybe
You
2
got to go all
Chainz.
the way to Lil Baby, who's not, still trying to regain his footing, and Savage. So really, the bottom, the non-top 10 is really the ones that are really more still active against him right now, competing. Savage more so than anybody.
Yeah, Savage is active. Playboi Carti's semi-active.
I just think I built up. I was a double XL. We helped build up what was with the Jeezy, the Snowman, and T.I. And I love these guys. They're great, but we dismiss what Future's continually done. And we say, well, he doesn't rap. It's March Madness. You don't have a 16. It's like, it's short-sighted to me. It's like.
That's why I think they
it's good.
shouldn't put rappers. If we're going to put the term rappers, it confuses it. I think top 50 Atlanta hip-hop artists is different. I think Future's one. If we're going top 50 Atlanta rappers, I think that's a different
It's all artists to
conversation.
me. It's all artists because they're not trying to.
Y'all are
It's
journalists,
circus.
bro. Words have definitions.
It's all
That's
artists
what
to
I'm
me.
saying.
Look up the definition to a rapper, Jeremy.
You
Hed.
say rapper and say MC to cause engagement and stir it up. That's all it is. It all comes down to being an artist at the end of the day.
Okay.
Define rapper.
Definition of a rapper: a person who performs rap music.
God damn it. Give me
You want me here? I'll do ChatGPT. How's that? ChatGPT knows who all of us are.
They do. Okay.
What is a rapper to you? Okay. A rapper to me is a storyteller and a poet who uses rhythm, wordplay, and often personal or social commentary to convey messages, emotions, and narratives. Rappers craft their lyrics with a deep sense of rhythm and flow, often delivering them over beats and instrumentals to enhance the mood and impact of their words. They can express a wide range of experiences, from personal struggle to societal issues, and their ability to connect with listeners through relatable or thought-provoking content is a key part of their
Shout out to
artistry.
Catplex.
And when Savage got in trouble, well, not got in trouble, but a little controversy, he told academics that Future's their Drake in Atlanta. It's
He's
like,
bigger than Drake in Atlanta.
That's their guy. So him, Baby, to me, Little Baby and Savage, they're all students of that. They came up under the realm where Future had the club on lock, and that 30-minute, 40-minute set was all Future records. So Future's the guy. I think we just have to popularize the fact of saying, like, he's the biggest singular solo Southern rap act. And nobody wants to say it. Meanwhile, he's so consistent and continues to give us these records.
Yeah, if we just call him a hip hop artist, because rapper,
whatever, he's the guy.
But rapper, we're putting JID is going to be higher on that list. Sci-Hi the Prince is going to be
Lyricist.
higher. Yeah, like if we're talking about, because they said Skill is a hip hop artist. If they said Skill is a rapper, this list would be much different. I actually wouldn't mind having Ludacris at number 1,
I like you picking Luda, though, number 1. Though.
top
Luda.
rapper,
That's mine.
or Andre.
I like Luda, yeah.
Luda's over everybody to me.
Well, we were speaking of West Coast.
I think, go back to our early days, I think Luda can make a record that could penetrate the landscape today and have an impact.
Agreed.
I think
Luda's
he has the best chance of doing that.
Luda is top tier in all facets.
Yeah.
Creativity, music video.
So how do we get
flow?
Luda focused on the music again and give us that sort of album that, like,
Got to
puts
cut
him
him a
back in the
check to
game
match
and,
the Fast and
competes
Furious.
with the landscape?
I don't know if you can.
Because he's doing so well. That Fast and
I don't
Furious.
think you're going to get the old
those
Luda
Fast
back.
and Furious M's is just too.
I don't think you're going to get the old
Yeah.
Luda back. Luda's a family man now. Like he's married and shit. Like he living
Yeah.
life differently. Like I don't think we going to get we don't get back for the first time or chicken and beer or like we not going to get none of that Luda no more. So if we do, we'll get an elevated version of it, but it won't be the same.
How many Fast and Furiouses do we have right now? Is it
We're
10?
at 9. Well, we're at 10, but there's a 2-part.
Okay, so after that,
So
he
this
said he did
so
10.
this last one that they finna do, I guess I don't know, whenever they do it, is gonna be the last one.
finale, and then we get Luda back.
No, we're not gonna get Luda back.
He could
He
compete.
can still rap. That's why he drops bars on
Yeah,
Instagram.
just like to
Luda-
talk to these artists and motivate them. Why don't you put a call in, man? Put a call in, brother.
You call him.
That's your man.
Call Hove and tell him to call Luda. Tell Luda to rap.
Does Luda make it into the classic hip hop category if he
Yes.
drops an album?
Yeah. Luda's a
But
legend.
I think Luda can compete.
He could do both.
nowadays.
Luda would be on both. He's a legend.
Yeah, shout out to Ludacris. Okay, West Coast. Last time we didn't mention YG's album. YG's album dropped. Okay.
It hadn't been out yet.
No, now it's out. But we didn't talk about it.
Just read
Upcoming.
up 3.
Read up 3. But he has also been in the news for uniting with the game and multiple rival gangs.
They're called Pyrus, Jeremy Hed.
The pie. I just didn't want to disrespect.
Say Pyru.
I don't need to say that.
Just no, they're Pyrus. That's they are.
Okay.
Don't say Pyru. Just say Pyrus.
The Pyrus.
Pyrus, yeah.
Okay. The Pyrus united. I I don't know if I have a question, but is this big for the West Coast? Is there any?
I mean, it's big for LA in general. I like when people say West Coast. They always think we just talk about LA. We not, but it's big for LA street culture for sure because where YG is from, and again, I don't like speaking street politics on air, but where YG is from, it's not necessarily a rival hood to where Game is from, but where YG is from is a rival hood. The Treetops and the Fruit Towns like been going at it, for a long time. And so like for him to do that and everybody to come together and do that, like it was a whole bunch of people there. The West Sides was there, the Nellis was there, the Cedars was there. Like it was a whole bunch of people that was there. The Treetops, the Fruits, like everybody was there. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people were there in support of it. And I think it's super dope. You know what I mean? I think it was super dope for them to do that.
Did you know what was coming? Was it talk about
Nah,
something like this?
Again, like it's certain things that happen that you aren't a part of because it don't have nothing to do with you. This don't have nothing to do with me. So I wasn't invited. I wasn't notified. Like I found out like everybody else, but I thought it was dope that they did it.
Everyone's excited to see Gabe involved in the mix.
No, it's cool to see because that stuff matters to get the notoriety, right?
Get the attention.
To get the attention. And I think like a lot of times these news outlets, even us, like as media, we don't cover these things because it doesn't matter to hip hop or it doesn't matter in our world, but it does matter culturally because when the rapper gets murdered or shot, we cover it. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, we need to cover this shit. I want to shout out to RJ, Mr. LA. He did a big concert, sold out at the Novo, downtown LA, with 03 Greedo. And that wasn't covered at all. And I went on the radio and went in on every news outlet I could, probably including DX, because no one covered it. And it was like the Grape Streets and the Athens did a concert where nobody got into it. It was a versus. They did a live versus with all gangbangers. And it was insane, and nobody covered that shit. And that shit is important that we need to talk about it because if RJ gets shot, we gonna talk about it. So I think we need to have the duality of that in the media. So I think Game showing up, YG doing it is big because it garners the attention we need to get the coverage on positivity.
Yeah.
What did you think of the album? I liked it. I thought it was the most enjoyable YG album I've heard in a minute.
Yeah, I liked it too. I like that his approach to it was. There's an interview that I did with him that's gonna come out. We talked for about an hour, and he was talking about the ins and outs of where he got the ideas, and I don't want to divulge too much of it, but basically, he made a whole album. Him and Mustard went in, made a whole Just Read Up album. Yep. Album done.
Explain what Just Read Up series.
So the Read Up series is like YG's like Carter series, so to speak, right? So the first one came out, had hits on it. Second one came out, had hits on it. This is the third iteration of that. There's going to be 4 total. That's an exclusive, he told us. There's only going to be 4 Just Read Ups. So he's making another one. Don't know when it's coming for. It's his favorite number for obvious reasons. So when he was making the album, he made Just Read Up 3. The album was done. Him and Mustard got back together. For y'all that don't know, him and Mustard fell out a couple years ago. They got back together, started working. We got Big Bank out of it. When Just Read Up 3, he did the album. It was done. So I was working with him, going back and forth on stuff, like literally bouncing songs back and forth for like a year. Album done. He got into it with someone, and he got into it with a female in his life. And she called him out and was like, basically like, hey, this don't sound like your life right now. You talking about this, you doing that, you talking about this. Where's your real life?
Too many bitches on the record.
And so he being YG listens. He's not one of them people who's I'm YG, I'm successful, I'm rich, bow down. He was like, you right. So he went back to the studio and told Mustard, we got to redo the album.
Wow,
he's in love. That's how you know.
Mustard's like, bro, the album's done. He's like, nah, we got to redo the whole album. Just let's cook up again.
He read up.
So they read up a whole nother. They went in and redid the re-up all over again because of someone in YG. I let him tell the story. Someone in his life called him out and told him that this album don't sound nothing like your life. You a dad. You got real life shit going on. Like this ain't your life. And to his point, so to your point, I think you like it because it's authentic. So shout out to YG for being able to receive those. That I think critique is important, and I think that a lot of artists, including Elliot, is open. We're all open to critique as well. That's important to keep you accountable because usually people want to see you elevate. So I think that's dope.
Yeah, shout out YG.
Yeah,
man.
It's interesting with YG because I did like what I heard. I still gotta finish the album, but it feels like he's in a weird position where he's a star when it comes to his records. Like, he has massive hit songs, but he's not necessarily, and his notoriety, I think everyone knows who YG is, but he's not necessarily treated like a superstar.
No.
And I don't know if it's because of the West Coast bias. I don't know if it's because maybe we don't know as much about him.
So
like
you
some of
agree
these
that there's
other-
bias?
I think there's a West Coast bias to some degree.
To
yeah.
what in what facet?
Like, I think the West Coast sound doesn't travel into other pockets the same way that
Yeah, I don't
it
hear
does
enough
here.
talk about this album, even in general, right? Like,
Okay,
you know.
so 2 things. 1, you're right. It is because of that. 3 things. 1, you're right. It is because of that. 2, because YG also doesn't carry himself like that.
Yeah.
Again, going back to that duality I was saying, it can work against you being too accessible, being too ground level, down to earth. YG still pull up to his homies by himself. Like,
It's like
him-
Ty Dolla $ign.
He go bowling. Like, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
right? The 3rd thing, though, is YG. I don't know if this is public, but, you know, it's out there, whatever. But YG is independent now. So
Life After
Same
Death
with
Jam.
Mustard.
YG
Yeah.
is completely independent. Mustard is completely independent. So everything that
They don't got that big push. of
yeah,
the
everything that
machine.
they're creating is on
from
them.
them, yeah.
It's from them. There's no major label backing them. There's no major entities backing them.
Yeah.
So they're at a point in their
I don't
career.
think people realize that.
They
didn't know
don't.
that.
That's why I'm saying it matters too, because you don't get the big industry push that you would normally get. Like, you have to work everything yourself, create your own staff, do all the things.
There's no billboards. You're not gonna.
So I think that's important to know. It's nuance.
No, it's there's actually
And all 3 of those cars are YGs.
For the record.
there's a well, actually, I think it's a good time to bring it up because you were talking about it and you had mentioned it on something else, but with YG and Nipsey, the video shoot where you said that was such a big moment.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think YG kind of needs to treat? Does he need to treat his records as something bigger than they are now because he's independent? Like, does he need to make a bigger deal out of this album, out of this, or is it strictly because the resources aren't there?
No, it's not even just because of the resources. There's also a bias that goes with it. Whereas YG is considered, even though YG is an international superstar,
Yeah.
did a whole tour. He does tours overseas all the time, right? He's considered a regional act to the industry, right? Because of the type of music, the sound, and stuff like that. And it's interesting to me when I watch that duality happen to other artists, right? Because you got E40 and Snoop. I put them in the same peer space, right? They still look at E40 like a regional act. And E40 is a whole legend.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There is a bias towards it. Whereas you have Griselda, they aren't looked at as a regional act. Why is that? Not saying, I'm not taking a dig at them. I'm just saying, why is that a thing? I personally think that people look at Bun B as a regional act. And he's a fucking legend who's an international superstar. He's a legend. You know what I mean? I think that there's a biases when you are traditionally potent in your culture and where you originate from. I think you get stigmatized in a way that hinders you and hinders your growth in the industry.
There was another thing, speaking of independence, that I didn't fully know about. I thought maybe you might have more insight into. But when Russ said, yo, RIAA, do you have beef with TuneCore? 315 has been beyond platinum for months, and we've been trying to certify it, and you keep giving us the runaround. I know the industry hates to see a platinum song on TuneCore
where my plaque at?
that was distributed for barely $1, but yeah, get it together ASAP. Do you think, are the labels paying
Sitting on them plaques.
for the, like, I know labels usually pay for the plaques, but is there something to do with them being in the pockets of the RIAA? Like, why would they not send a plaque to Russ if he requested a plaque?
Well, 2 things could be true. What he's saying could be true, but there's also nuance to it. Like, the label structure is not set up to just push artists and stuff like that. The label structure is set up for business. And part of the business is the plaques and the distribution of funds and all that kind of stuff. When you get a plaque, like I have plaques, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you get a plaque, 3 things have to happen. 1, it actually has the plaque or be certified. 2, the product manager has to green light the plaque, right? Or the artist and the product manager have to green light the plaque. The third thing is the product manager has to put in an order with a third party to order the plaque that gets sent out. So there's if you're an independent artist, I could see there being a break in that chain somewhere because they don't just send you a plaque because you go gold. Someone has to order the plaque and pay for the plaque. It's not a free plaque because you went gold. Like when you get a star on the Walk of Fame, somebody has to pay for that star. It's not, we just want to acknowledge you. Here goes a star. Like, no, somebody got to pay that. It's like $60,000 or some shit like that. Like when you get a plaque, like I got a huge Khaled plaque. Shout out to DJ Khaled who takes care of the DJs. I got a huge Khaled plaque. The same one he got. You know what I'm saying? I know for a fact that plaque was over $1,000, and he sent it to almost every radio DJ in the country. And he paid for that. That like either he or the label have to come together and be like, this is the budget for the plaques, and they pay for them and they get dispersed. So I don't know what Russ is happening with his plaques, but RIAA don't just send motherfuckers plaques. That's not how it works.
Yeah, maybe he's saying they prioritize the majors and it's taking a longer process.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
trying
like
to go
yeah.
through the process and get it done, but clearly you're not prioritizing these independents the way you would.
Yeah, they're saying he's on back order.
Big back order.
Spotlight.
Okay, you want to go spotlight?
Yes.
All right.
I want to spotlight Elliott Wilson.
Uh-oh. Jesus Christ. Why, DJ Hed? Why are you spotlighting me? Why?
I want to spotlight Elliott Wilson.
It doesn't feel sincere to me, DJ Hed. Because I'm not
talk.
feeling well. That's
you
why
gotta let me talk.
So my bad.
I want to spotlight Elliott Wilson.
Oh, boy.
And I want to spotlight Jeremy Hed. And I want to spotlight journalists. And let me tell you why journalists are important. I know we talked about this before, but it is increasingly imperative that we empower journalists. And every platform that I could think of is completely eradicating and getting rid of journalists in search of social media influencers, podcasters, personalities, people like myself. Journalists are important to the culture, and journalists are important because they actually have a craft that they do, and it's not dispensable. When you go into your sheets and you're running your numbers and crunching, looking for cuts, don't just start cutting journalists, bro, because that's how you get misinformation. You get Trump out here advocating against the media and shit like that. Journalists are important, and I just want to spotlight journalists in general because I saw a whole bunch of shit going on this week when it comes to the political campaigns that are being ran, when it comes to propaganda, and from a hip-hop narrative. Numbers are wrong. Well, if Daily Rap Facts said it, shit like that, right? It's always stuff that happens that is not necessarily in context, and it's for clickbait or it's for a disingenuous reason within the culture, and I don't like that shit, and I want to spotlight journalists in general. Y'all are important. So
thank you.
Stop just getting rid of journalists when you crunch your numbers. Like, get rid of, other people first.
Sometimes
there you go.
Sometimes when you see something wrong in the landscape, you got to put the cape on to step in, and that's what you did. That's why you became one. You said, listen, there's something wrong in the journalism game.
Join us to the journalism side, brother. We welcome you.
All right.
Open arms.
You got that blue. Did
he
even talk about his Blueface interview? You talk about his Blueface exclusive,
you were calling, doing exclusives.
Blueface
shout out to Blueface. He called in from jail on my show Effective Immediately with Gina Views on Sirius XM. And we got the exclusive with him. He said Soulja Boy still owe him a fade. He said that.
How are you gonna talk shit from jail? That's crazy.
That's what he's worried about. A fade from Soulja Boy.
He said Soulja Boy still owe him a fade. I don't know if that's gonna happen. He said NLE Chopper he's still on that.
He got a fade list.
He said, he said he down to fight Jake Paul too when he done with the whole Tyson shit. So
reforming is really working well.
Really? The system.
The whole system is just...
Blueface was just sentenced to 4 years in prison. He said that basically he'll be back by summer.
This next summer.
Oh, Blueface is calling right now.
This telephone call may be monitored or recorded.
Blue, you live right now. Hip Hop Nation. Effective Immediately with me and DJ Hed.
Blueface, baby.
Hey.
We was literally just
talking.
talking.
We're literally talking about you right now.
We're talking about you right now live on the radio, bro.
Oh, yeah. So I got sentenced to 4 years. I got a year credit, so that go down to 3 years, and I got to do 33% of that.
So you'll be home by summer?
Probably like March, April, on the side. You already know it's going down.
What's your mental like? You straight?
I'm in my environment. I'm always soak up and adapt to it, so it ain't really nothing. It's really like a...
This call is being recorded.
It's like a little break from responsibility, honestly.
What have you been doing to like pass your time?
Man, be jacking off, watching TV, eating burritos, and using the phone. That's pretty much it.
What you watching in there?
Watching a lot of the news, the Sherry Show, and the Jennifer Hudson Show.
Blueface watching Jennifer Hudson is crazy.
Who out there talking smack? Let's get to the good stuff. Ain't none of them rappers out there popping it like they waiting for me.
I seen Soulja Boy get a tweet off.
Soulja Boy promised me a fade, so I'm still on that.
Hit us up at effectiveimmediately.live and hit our YouTube for the full conversation right now. But yeah, Blueface. Also, he said that, he haven't had a chance to see his little one. I thought that was important to ask about because the drama with him and Krishan Rock. He said him and Rock, they speak. They on speaking terms. And, go check out the full interview on effectiveimmediately.live.
Word. Yes. Spotlight on
Spotlight
him.
on journalism.
On journalism. I want to give a spotlight to. I love music discovery, and I don't get the chance to do it very often organically. So when I was in New York, I was in this vintage shop, and there was a song playing. And I was like, this shit sounds so fire, but it sounded unlike anything that I had heard. So I did a little Shazam. And on the Shazam, he only had 100 Shazams. So I was like, oh, this is like a new artist. So I asked the guy at the desk, because he was jamming. I was like, who is this guy? He's like, oh, I found him on Instagram the other day. Like, he's fire. So I looked him up, and he had like 2,000 followers, 4,000 followers on Instagram. And I went and watched his music video. His music video has under 1,000 views. But I was like, no, this guy is a star. It was like Tommy Richmond vibes, almost like lyrical, but very Steve Lacy, genre bending. Let me grab his name, but he also like Gay P followed him.
Was a store owner and shit. Like,
no, it was him.
That's me, fam.
No, my Shazams, it was Liim. The song is Memorize. Liim, I believe it's Lim. Memorize, fire song, fire video. So I can't wait to see him blow up at some point.
Discovery.
You got a spotlight, Elliot Wilson?
I have a spotlight. I'm gonna shout out my guy, veteran guy, my guy Wale.
Shout out to Wale, that tour.
Phone posits.
Yeah, the phone posits, right? Mr. Nike himself finally getting his due. These phone posits. I haven't got where's mine? Size 11, you know what I'm saying? But
it's a fucking commercial.
I'm a cop them if I can get them. If they don't get sold out, I don't know how it works, the whole situation. I don't know when they drop, but just to see him like, get recognition in that way. Just I get the way he's moving in general, right? He announced his tour. Like, we've seen Wale in the past get caught up in all the competitiveness and social media, get pulled into things. But I just love the way he's been moving like this whole year and like announcing his tour. And he told me like he's gonna use the tour to kind of like figure out sort of the missing pieces that he feel are still missing from the album. So I think we're gonna get the tour first and then the album. And I just love the way that he's sort of like this artistic growth for him and just like this comfortability of like who he is and where he represents himself in hip hop. It's just great to see. So
shout out to Wale.
My guy.
Lauren, yeah.
For Lauren.
Wale definitely is one of them ones when it comes to rap.
Yep. And artistry and
Yeah, I'm good.
Fashion, sneakers, kicks, life.
Hey, make sure y'all like and subscribe and comment. Shout out to the chat too.
Yes.
You love the chat,
And
don't
everybody
you?
who's with us
You want
on
to stream, don't you, DJ Hed?
No.
When you gonna start streaming?
No.
Come on, fam, stream.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest with you, and we can end right now, but I recently just watched it again. I have a monthly regimen. I watched The Birdman on Breakfast Club.
That's a short one.
Yeah.
You spent
I
all 3
watched
minutes
Birdman
doing
on
that?
Breakfast Club, and the second one I added to that was Academics watching Not Like Us drop.
That is a good one.
He dropped again?
Again?
And then he's like, is this nigga in my chat? Oh my God.
Yo,
That shit is guts, bro.
one of the great moments in streaming history is him finding out Drake was on sicko mode. You ever seen that?
Yeah, it's high as pop.
Yeah. He's like, Drake, is that Drake? Gets up on his seat, walks away.
Yeah.
We'll do a live show one time.
Okay, we got
Reaction.
one. We'll do a live show
Just
coming.
request already.
They want us to tour.
Yeah, man, let's do it,
Some
man.
sponsor comes in, funds a tour. We will be in your city.
They ain't gonna get it for cheap.
Like,
What he
comment,
said.
subscribe. Shout out to the chat.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody here that works behind the scenes to make this possible.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate y'all.
The bigger picture.